All right, so we got some Padres related news tonight. John Morosi, MLB Network, he tweets out the Twins had shown interest in free agent Michael Lorenzen prior to tonight's trade. By the way, that trade was Jorge Polanco going to the Seattle Mariners, and I think like 4 players going to the Minnesota Twins back in that deal, including one of Seattle's top outfield prospects that I thought maybe the Padres would be interested in if they were going to trade Jake Cronenworth or if they were going to trade Ha-Seong Kim 1 year left to the Mariners. Mariners, they get their infielder via Jorge Polanco with the Twins. Now, Max Kepler, maybe he is a trade target of the Padres. We shall see there. He has 1 year left. Padres, they need outfield help. Lefty bat, could be top of the order. Could make some sense. But if they sign Michael Lorenzen, which is obviously the topic of this video, I don't know how they're going to fit all the pieces together. If Kepler is 10 mil, Lorenzen might be 10 plus mil per year. That doesn't leave them a whole lot of room to get center field done unless they just want Jose Zocar or Jacob Marcy, get some more pitching depth, first base DH bat, or are they just going to go the super cheap route with Garrett Cooper? We'll see. That's a little bit down the road here. But John Morosi saying here, Lorenzen drawing interest from the Padres and Orioles, as previously reported. The Orioles are an interesting team. Like I've always wondered, or I have been wondering at least the last couple of years, when are they going to be spending money? Because they have more money to spend than the Padres do. The Padres have already locked up a lot of guys, big contracts. The Orioles do not have big contracts. They signed Adam Frazier to like a 1 year deal. They signed Kyle Gibson to a 1 year deal. That was, I think, last offseason. Adam Frazier just signed with the Kansas City Royals, obviously. But it's like, okay, when are they going to spend? I thought that they're going to spend on a big name guy, like a big starter, not a mid starter, like mid rotation guy, back end rotation guy like Michael Lorenzen. But I could definitely see that as a fit, the Baltimore Orioles with Michael Lorenzen. I could see the Orioles paying more money, offering more money to Lorenzen than the Padres do. But Padres, the fit, Michael Lorenzen, it is a fit in terms of like this could be their Nick Martinez because Lorenzen can start, he can relieve. These last couple of years, most of his experience has been in the rotation. 2023, split time with Detroit. He was an all-star with the Philadelphia Phillies. I think he threw a no-hitter, one of his first outings there with the Phillies, and then kind of wasn't as effective. He had a 5.51 ERA with the Phillies, 3.58 with the Detroit Tigers. I'll add that up to 4.18 ERA in 2023. Was with the Angels, Reds for a while there before I believe he was a free agent before signing with the Angels. But yeah, these last couple of years. So 29 starts in 2023, 29 appearances, 25 starts in 2023, 18 starts in 2022, and then didn't start from 2016 to like 2021. I mean, there was a couple of starts here and there, but not consistently. So this is kind of like a Seth Lugo thing where he's just going back from being a reliever to pretty much starting all the time. That's his main role. So the question marks I have with Lorenzen are, okay, what happened there with the Phillies? Why the 5+ ERA? And he had some relief appearances. He only had 7 starts, so it was a smaller sample size. But what happened there with the Phillies? It is a right-handed guy. And is this going to have to be an overpay for the Padres? Or is this a guy where the Padres know his market and it's like, minimal interest. The Orioles, they're not spending. So the Padres, maybe they could jump in there. And Lorenzen values working with Ruben Niebla, or maybe he's heard from other guys how they work with Ruben Niebla. I just wonder, how would the money work with Lorenzen? Because if I'm comparing him to someone like Nick Martinez, righty, relief, start, I feel like he's an energetic guy, workout freak. I mean, they look pretty similar. Strong legs from what I've seen, both of those guys on the mound. If we're comparing him to Nick Martinez got 13 mil a year, I believe, from the Cincinnati Reds this past offseason. Michael Wacha, let's go to Wacha, Lugo, right? So Wacha gets $16 million a year from the Kansas City Royals. Are the Padres going to do that to Michael Lorenzen? I think that Lorenzen doesn't cost as much as Michael Wacha because he's not as much of a veteran starter as Wacha. Although Lorenzen, he doesn't have as many innings on his arm, though, as Michael Wacha, though. So let's say less than Waka, less than 16 a year. Does he get as much as Nick Martinez though per year? Maybe I'd say probably a little bit less. It also depends on, I guess, the role that he's in. I mean, the Padres obviously they would be bringing Michael Lorenzen in to be a starter, not a reliever. So the price tag goes up in comparison to what they would be paying him if they wanted him to be a reliever, right? He could always go to the bullpen if needed. But let's say he's a starter. Is it $11 million a year? Is that what we're looking at? Is it 10? Is it less than 10? I'm not. Maybe if the market collapses and he doesn't get signed and it's spring training and he wants to find a home, maybe. So maybe the Padres need to drag this out a little bit. But like, if you look at the rotation for the Padres, I would be fine with adding Michael Lorenzen, I guess, depending on the price tag. Cal State Fullerton guy, shout out. My mom went there, so she would be happy if Michael Lorenzen ended up signing with the San Diego Padres. But I just question, okay, how many righties do the Padres want in their rotation? I mean, they have Darvish, Musgrove, King, Lorenzen would be the fourth righty. They're going to have an all righty rotation. Who's the lefty that they're going to bring in to start? I don't think that I don't think that they'd add Michael Lorenzen into the bullpen. I think he's coming here as a starter if he does come here. It's a talented arm. It's someone that, for the most part, has been able to throw a good amount of innings. Last year, over 150 innings. 2022, 18 starts. So obviously a smaller sample size in 2022 than he had in 2023. 18 starts, almost 100 innings there in those 18 starts. All-star, but that was more like he was good in the first half, and the Tigers had to have an all-star. I think that's why Lorenzen was named an all-star. The whip's not ridiculously high, like 1.5 or anything like that. It was close to that with the Phillies. So again, I kind of wonder what happened there. I haven't watched a bunch of video on him or anything like that of what he did with the Phillies. But like the whip with Detroit, 1098, 1209, all of 2023. And it's really been like around 1.3, a little over 1.3, a little less than 1.4. So not a terrible whip there. It will be an arm that we know. Maybe some fans are worried, like maybe the Padres, they bring in a guy that we've never heard of because of how much of a budget that they're on. But what would this mean? I wonder what this would, this is just me speaking aloud here. What would this mean for the rest of the plan? So let's say they have to give Lorenzen $11 million. Let's say they have 25 to spend. That's a pretty good chunk there. So he is the big starting addition for agency wise. You're not going to make another big free agent starter. And this wouldn't even be a big free agent ad because in terms of like nationally, Major League Baseball. For the Padres, obviously, we would be talking about it because they're not doing anything, and he'd be in the rotation. It would be significant, but it wouldn't be a huge move. But that would be the Padres' huge move in the rotation for agency-wise, because I don't see them signing two starters at like $11 million a year. That's $22 million. They have 25 to spend. They still need a couple outfielders, unless they want to roll with Azokar and Marcy there in center field. What about the other bats? And the left fielder, they're going to bring him in for $3 million. I just don't see it. This is going to be the one big free agent starter. So I would think if they bring Lorenzen in, it's 10 mil a year, maybe 11 mil. Him and then one major league outfielder, probably maybe around that same $10 million Max Kepler range there. That's 20, right? That's almost your budget there. First base DH bat, does that mean that we're bringing Profar in to do both? Outfield, first base, DH if you need him to, or are you bringing Garrett Cooper back if he accepts a cheap 1 year, $2 million deal, something like that? And then you're rolling with Azokar, Marcy, center field, Tatis, and right. Maybe there's other prospects that come up that we're not thinking about. Maybe it's going to be a Turso or Nellis. I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see how the Padres end up, combining all of these moves here to stay under this budget, because they essentially like need to stay under it, right? Haven't they presented a plan to Major League Baseball to stay under it? So interesting. Michael Lorenzen, give your thoughts in the comments. Would you like Michael Lorenzen? It's another righty. That's one of the pauses that I have on this, but seems like he is a real competitor, wants to win. If it doesn't work out, he could go to the bullpen, and that just makes the bullpen stronger. So we'll see. I mean, You add him to guys like Randy Vasquez, Johnny Brito, Adrian Morejon, Luis Patino, guys that can start and relieve, I would think. So, it would be interesting. I'd be okay with it. I would like to see some more lefties.